This year is shaping up to be one of the best seasons to date in Formula 2. Although we've been captivated with the return of Formula 1 in 2020 after its very long hiatus, Formula 2 has also just almost surprised us, to the people that are actually watching it, at just how amazing and competitive this year's field is. We have some phenomenal drivers, we've already seen some amazing racing, some shock results already, and it's just going to get better, more exciting and more dramatic as we get further into this crazy 2020 season, because not only is it crazy in Formula 1, but it's just as unpredictable in Formula 2 as well. So yeah, hopefully in this video I can kind of convince a few of you guys as to why you should be watching Formula 2 in 2020. Now guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy the content on my channel, then don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. But guys, let's get into this one. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat that, to be honest, last year in 2019, I wasn't that interested in Formula 2, and that's because, in my opinion, the enjoyability factor of Formula 2 is not just within the racing, but it's more within the drivers. I feel like a Formula 2 season, it lives and dies by the quality of its drivers, the characters, and of course, in the end, the racing that they produce. And last year, although there definitely was some great talent in the field, we had the likes of Nick de Vries, who won the 2019 Formula 2 Championship. We had Nicholas Latifi, who is now our rookie in Formula 1 for 2020. He came in second in the championship, and of course, some of the rookies were the really big story of the season. The likes of Guan Yu Zhou, Mick Schumacher, of course, the Schumacher name in Formula 2, with him winning a race in Hungary, and then of course Antoine Hubert as well. And the best way to remember Antoine is the fact that he had an unbelievable 2019 rookie season, winning 2 races, one in Monaco and one at his home Grand Prix. And I feel like that's just the best way to remember him, as an amazing racing driver after he passed away at Spa. So yeah, I think that was the biggest thing to take away from 2019, and it's horrible that we have to say this, but it almost kind of hits home that, we can't take it for granted, the safety of the sport, not just in Formula 1, but what these young guys are doing even in Formula 2, risking their lives driving these unbelievable race cars even in Formula 2. But other than a few kind of amazing talents, and there's no doubt that every single year in Formula 2 we do get some really great drivers, the quality of the field just wasn't as high as it is in 2020. I mean, Mahavira Gunnathan, that's all I'm going to say, the Lord Mahavira Gunnathan. When we talk about drivers that are box office, yeah, he was definitely box office. Let's just leave it there. But in general, in 2020, the field is much better. There is potentially, in my opinion, at least 1 or 2 drivers that I can really see as future world champions in Formula 1, or potential future world champions, and that is why it just makes it so much more exciting, because not only are these guys unbelievably close and really talented, but there are some amazing characters as well, and that is why it just makes it even more exciting in 2020. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Formula 2 just lives and dies by the quality of its drivers and the characters, and I've kind of repeated that over and over again because it really is true. But why in 2020 should you be watching? Well, in my opinion, it's purely down to the drivers, because we have such an amazing mix. Now, first of all of them are unbelievably talented. There is no doubt about it. And in general, from the top to the bottom, it just looks like the quality has gone up, and there is a really nice mix, especially at the top, of drivers that have been in Formula 2 before, that maybe have had a year or two, people like Mick Schumacher and Callum Ilott, Guan Yu Zhou, who have just literally raised their game in 2020 and have to be considered as potential championship contenders. We also have a really nice addition of some brilliant rookies, and I do mean brilliant, like Robert Schwartzman and Christian Lundgaard. Now, Christian Lundgaard actually did have 2 races right at the end of 2019, but to be honest, this is his first proper season, so yeah, I do consider him a rookie, and these guys have just come in and they are right on the money. They look like they've been in Formula 2 for years. And then of course we also have some of the spicy drivers, some of the controversial characters, like the likes of Dan Ticktum as well. So all of those drivers I mentioned and many more, they make up the reason why 2020 is looking like it's going to be one of the best seasons of Formula 2 ever, because we've already seen it in the first 6 races, actually, of the first 4 races from the 2 different events at the Austrian circuit, and then the most recent 2 races from the Hungarian circuit as well. And we've seen a really nice mix and a good variety of winners, but also just showing how consistency is going to matter even more than ever, picking up those points, picking up those podiums, because in my opinion, I mean, there's easily maybe 5 drivers that could potentially win the championship this year, maybe even more actually. And that is why when you hear people complaining in Formula 1 about the fact that Mercedes are running away with it, and the fact that Lewis Hamilton or Valtteri Bottas are the only 2 people fighting for a title, that is why Formula 2 is just almost a little bit more exciting to watch. We don't know who's going to win the championship, and even predicting like the top 3 or the top 5 is impossible at this stage, and that unpredictability is what excites me the most, along with the amazing racing, along with the great characters throughout the entire field. And certainly that is what is making me and many more people just keep coming back to watch every single race. Now, I've talked about the drivers in general, but what about the specific drivers that could potentially win this year's championship in Formula 2, and that could definitely be potential F1 drivers in 2021? Now, to get a bit of a different perspective, I've actually brought along a guest for this video, a really good member of the Formula 1 community, a fellow content creator. Some of you guys might know her. Her name is Kira, and she has a YouTube channel called Kira Megan F1, where she covers Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula E, and just any motorsport, basically. So yeah, really good member of the Formula 1 content creator community. Check her channel in the description down below. I'll have a link. And yeah, let's find out who Kira thinks are going to be the big standout drivers in Formula 2 in 2020 that we should look out for.
Hello, it's Kira from Kira Megan F1, and I'm going to be talking to you about my favourite Formula 2 drivers this year and the ones that I think you really need to be watching out for. As we know, Formula 2 is such a competitive field, especially this year. Like, the stakes are so high. There's so many amazing drivers, but I'm going to talk you through 3 of them, which I definitely think you should watch out for, and they're probably the ones that are going to win the championship. So the first person I'm going to talk about is Robert Schwartzman, the reigning FIA Formula 3 champ and the current championship leader. Robert is incredible, and I'm not just saying that because he's won these championships, but the mentality he has going into events is it's on another level. He's always thinking about the championship. He is always thinking about what he can do to improve. He has been consistently scoring points in these first 6 races. He has been racing absolutely amazingly, not really putting many steps wrong. He has just been consistent, and it proves because he's at the top of the championship. He's got a couple of wins to his name, and I can honestly easily see him winning this championship. His mentality is above everyone else's. We see so many different crashes and we see so many different incidents that happen in Formula 2, but because these drivers just aren't in that headspace that they should be, and Robert is 100% in that championship winning mentality, and you can really tell it really comes across in his driving. He is also part of the Ferrari Driver Academy, and as we know, there is probably a space at Alpha for him next year, maybe even Haas. We don't exactly know what's going on with that either. So the stakes are high for the Ferrari Driver Academy boys, but he is really performing. So the next person I'm going to talk about is Guan Yu Zhou. He is 21 years old, a Chinese driver, and he's driving for UNI Virtuosi this year, and Zhou is fast. If somebody had to tell me to describe Zhou in a word, I would say he is speed. Like, he is so fast. The moves he makes are really good, and I was thinking about this the other day. I've never seen Zhou make a move that is unreasonable or has caused a collision. Like, he's so smart with where he places his car, and he gets around people so quickly. He's got that proper fire in his driving, but at the same time he's still a very composed guy, and his championship last year really proved that. He's done really well. Rookie of the year. He has got so much going for him. He is also a Renault Driver Academy driver. Now obviously we know that Fernando Alonso is now in that seat next year, so it kind of displaces any hopes that Christian Lundgaard or Guan Yu Zhou might have had, but that does not take away from how good Guan Yu Zhou is. And he hasn't had the greatest start for the season this year, but let me tell you, I'm 100% sure he's going to come back stronger, and he's going to properly fight. So the next one is Guan Yu Zhou's teammate, and that is Callum Ilott. Now Callum is a very fast driver, but I think a lot of people don't see that if they didn't watch GP3 in 2018. Callum was very fast in that series. He actually came 3rd, but last year with his Formula 2, his first year, he was a rookie last year, he didn't do very well. He made a lot of mistakes and it just didn't hook up for him, but this year he's with UNI Virtuosi. He has a really good teammate, and he has just came out of the blocks on fire. This is what we expect to see from Callum Ilott. He is a Ferrari junior like Robert. He is very fast, 21 years old, from Cambridge, and he's got a desire to win, and he knows what he wants. He knows where he wants to go. He does it quite quietly. He says it in the background, you know, he doesn't big himself up too much, but he just does what he needs to do, and I think he's an amazing driver. The moves he's been pulling off and how quick he's been, like, he's at the top of the grid most days. He's been doing really well. I really expect to see him at the top and fight in this championship as he is currently. He is currently P2. Him and Robert, I think, are going to have a really good fight in the next couple of races, and I'm really hoping that Guan Yu Zhou can come up. That are my 3 drivers I think that you should watch out for in 2020 Formula 2.
So thank you to Kira for her thoughts on the 3 drivers that we should look out for in 2020. And I mean, her picks and her analysis were absolutely spot on. When you look at the likes of Robert Schwartzman, Callum Ilott, and Huang Yuzhou, they are definitely going to have huge roles to play in this year's championship. But the really big standouts to me is, and it's almost a bit of like a cop-out to say this, but it's just the Ferrari Driver Academy. All of their drivers have been impeccable in terms of the quality, the speed, and just the maturity that they have shown already. The likes of Callum Ilott, Robert Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher. So Ferrari find themselves in a really strange situation where they're obviously not having a great 2020 Formula 1 season, but they have so much to look forward to in the future with some amazing drivers in their driver pool. And it's just about seats in Formula 1 that teams like Alfa Romeo and even Haas as well, because when you look at drivers like Kimi Raikkonen and Romain Grosjean, you can kind of sense that, you know, they've come towards the end of their time in Formula 1 and it's about time. And throughout the field, there are some really great drivers that are associated with Formula 1 teams like Dan Ticktum as well. What a character he is. Controversial, no doubt, but I would love to see him in Formula 1 one day because he does have a lot of potential and he is a very fast driver. There's just no getting away from that. And maybe one day with Williams, because of course that is the team that he is associated with. But kind of, you know, in closing, I think it's all of these drivers, the Ferrari Academy, the Renault Academy, even, you know, drivers like Dan Ticktum with Williams, that are just making this season in Formula 2 absolutely unbelievable, because we are seeing great characters, we are seeing amazing racing, and we are seeing the future of Formula 1 right here, right now in Formula 2, and that is why I think the 2020 Formula 2 season is a must-watch for new fans. Well guys, there you go. That is my video on Formula 2. Now let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you watch Formula 2? Do you not watch Formula 2? And who is your standout driver in 2020? Anyway, I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.